Ambassador, are we about to have another war in the Middle East?
I certainly hope we're not. We have never sought conflict in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia has been involved.
I mean, you've intervened in Yemen with massive airstrikes for 4 years.
We didn't start the conflict there. We went into Yemen in order to try and pacify the situation. I know that sounds backwards. There's no conflict that is a good conflict. Our intervention in Yemen was to restore the democratically elected government with a UN mandate, because we saw that what was happening in Yemen had the opportunity or the possibility to branch out and widen.
Does Saudi Arabia now regret getting involved in that war? Because, let's be blunt, you haven't dislodged the Houthis. Thousands of people have been killed and displaced. The majority of civilians killed are because of the Saudi-led airstrikes. This was surely a catastrophic mistake.
Anyone who says they don't regret conflict or war is lying to you or a madman. We felt we had to get involved because it was in the greater interests of Yemen, Saudi Arabia, and the region. There were
But it hasn't been, though.
Well, do you think it's best just to leave? Of course not. We can't leave Yemen on its own. Yemenis are our brothers. There are family relations, there are cultural relations, religious ties.
Where are you now with Iran? You've investigated the attacks on Saudi Aramco, and this is a huge attack.
Definitely.
It's crippled your oil output. How is Saudi Arabia going to respond?
Almost certainly it's Iranian-backed. We are trying not to react too quickly, because the last thing we need is more conflict in the region.
How serious is the damage to Saudi Arabia's oil and petrochemical industry?
You know, GEG processes more than half the amount of oil that we produce in Saudi, which is not a small amount.
Being the facility that was hit.
Correct. It processes more oil than almost the whole region produces otherwise. So this is a blow for the world and the world economy, not just Saudi Arabia.
I want to turn to the murder of Jamal Al-Khashoggi inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul nearly a year ago by Saudi government agents. Why haven't we been told what's going on with the trial?
Well, let me be clear. What happened in Istanbul almost a year ago was a stain on Saudi Arabia, a stain on our culture, our people, our government. I wish it didn't happen.
If Saudi Arabia was serious about really getting to the bottom of this, why is Saud Al-Qahtani still at large? He's the man named by the CIA as being instrumental in the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, and yet he is at large. He's not on trial, he's not in prison, he's not detained. I know he's a friend of the Crown Prince, but he seems to be above the law.
No one's above the law, and I think we've seen that in the past in Saudi. Whether you're from the royal family, a friend of the Crown Prince, it's irrelevant. A big businessman. He was removed from his position.
In theory?
No, definitely. He carries out no active role in government. He's being investigated. We have not finished the investigation. If he had a role, he will go to jail. It's as simple as that. The case is being investigated. When it's done, we'll know what happened.